The black Silurian warship floated above Earth. It looked like a huge, dark knife in the sky, with sharp edges and a surface that swallowed all light. On the main deck, Commander Vraxthul stood tall, watching the blue planet below. His 6 bright, yellow eyes blinked slowly as he studied Earth with clear dislike. "Look at them down there," he said to Officer Krell, who stood nearby. "Such a weak species. They only just figured out how to reach their own moon 50 years ago. Their ships can barely make it to Mars." He clicked his jaw pincers together. "This will be an easy victory." Vraxthul walked across the command room, his feet making hollow sounds on the metal floor. The room was filled with at least 20 alien crew members, all with tough dark green skin and 4 arms. They worked quickly at their stations, preparing for war. "Show me their defenses again," Vraxthul ordered. A large screen lit up, showing Earth's space stations and small fleet of ships. The humans had built 3 space stations and had 15 military ships that could travel in space. Next to the mighty Silurian fleet of over 100 warships, Earth's forces looked like toys. "Pathetic," Vraxthul said. "They send radio, messages asking for peace talks. As if we came all this way to talk." Officer Krell moved closer. "Commander, should we answer their calls?" "Let them talk to empty space," Vraxthul replied. "Meanwhile, bring me those humans we captured yesterday, the ones who came in that small ship waving white flags." Deep inside the alien ship, Paul Carter sat on a hard bench in a cell with clear walls. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and calm eyes. Next to him sat Olivia Wright, a younger woman with short brown hair and a serious face. They both wore the blue uniforms of Earth's Peace Corps. "How long have we been here?" Olivia asked, keeping her voice low. Paul checked his watch. "Almost 20 hours since they pulled our shuttle in." Their small room had nothing but 2 benches. The walls seemed to be made of some kind of super strong glass, letting them see other empty cells nearby. The air smelled slightly like cinnamon, but with a metallic edge that made their throats feel dry. Paul patted the large diplomatic bag beside him. To most people, it looked like a normal carry case for important documents about the size of a small suitcase. But this bag was special. "Is he okay in there?" Olivia whispered, glancing at the bag. Paul nodded. "The bag has its own air system and comfort padding. Buddy is fine, just sleeping." Inside the diplomatic bag hidden from the aliens was a golden retriever named Buddy. He wasn't just a pet, he was a highly trained therapy and support animal, brought along because of his calming effect in high-stress situations. The bag was a special design that could keep a medium-sized dog comfortable for up to 48 hours if needed. Paul had insisted on bringing Buddy despite objections from some officials. In first contact situations, anything that helps keep us calm, and thinking clearly is an asset, he had argued. Now he was glad he had won that fight. A loud hissing sound made them both look up. The door at the end of the hallway slid open, and 3 Silurian guards entered. They were each about 7 feet tall, with powerful builds and weapons that looked like glowing spears. "Humans," one of them said through a translator device on its chest. "You will come with us now." Back on Earth, in a deep underground base, in Colorado, Admiral Kate Morgan stood in front of a large wall of screens. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and deep worry lines marked her face. She hadn't slept in over 30 hours. "What's our status?" she asked, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. General Sam Reeves, a stocky man with a shaved head, stepped forward. "Not good, Admiral. We've lost contact with our lunar base. The aliens have positioned ships around Earth in a standard attack formation." The room was filled with military personnel rushing between computer stations. Red warning lights flashed on several screens. "Our weapons?" Kate asked. "Our missile systems are ready, but we have no idea if they'll even scratch those ships," Reeves replied. "The President has authorized full military response if they attack." Lieutenant Alan Miller approached with a tablet in his hand. He was younger than most officers in the room, with a freckled face that made him look even younger than his 28 years. "Admiral, we just lost contact with the diplomatic team," he reported. "Their shuttle signal disappeared inside the main alien ship 20 hours ago. No communication since." Kate closed her eyes briefly. "Paul Carter is on that team. If anyone can find a way to talk to these beings, it's him." If they're still alive, Reeves added grimly. They're alive, Kate said firmly. Paul isn't just any diplomat. He's been preparing for first contact scenarios his entire career. Plus, he has that secret weapon of his. Secret weapon? Alan asked, confused. Kate almost smiled. His dog. Trust me, Paul Carter and that golden retriever of his have gotten out of tighter spots than this. Paul and Olivia were marched through wide hallways with curved ceilings. Paul carried his diplomatic bag carefully, and the aliens didn't try to take it. They probably thought it contained only papers or communication devices. The guards brought them to a massive room with high ceilings and a wall of windows showing the earth below. In the center stood Commander Vraxathul on a raised platform. So these are the humans who came to beg for mercy, Vraxathul said, his voice booming in the large space. Paul stepped forward. We came to establish peaceful contact. I am Paul Carter, lead negotiator for Earth's United Nations. This is my assistant, Olivia Wright. The commander made a sound like rocks being ground together, possibly laughter. Peace? Your planet has nothing we want except its resources and location. Negotiations are pointless. Inside the diplomatic bag, Buddy stirred. Paul could feel the dog moving slightly, sensing the tension in the room. Commander, Paul said calmly, war is never the only option, surely. Vraxathul cut him off with a sharp gesture. Enough words. You will watch as we send our message to Earth. Then you will see your leader surrender. He turned to his crew. Prepare the weapons demonstration. Target their largest military base in the region they call Pacific. Show these humans what happens to those who resist the Zalorian Empire. Paul exchanged a worried glance with Olivia. Their situation had just gotten much worse. In his bag, Buddy was now fully awake, waiting patiently as he had been trained. Soon, Paul knew, it would be time to introduce the aliens to humanity's oldest and most loyal friend. But first he needed to delay that weapons demonstration somehow. 3 days had passed since the alien ships arrived. On their main ship, Commander Vraxathul paced back and forth on the bridge. He was angry. The humans had fought back better than expected. His forces had sent down 5 smaller attack ships to test Earth's defenses, but 2 of them had been damaged by Earth's missiles and had to return. Report, Vraxathul demanded. Officer Krell approached with a data tablet. Commander, the humans have managed to shoot down one of our scout ships. They used a combination of ground-based lasers and their primitive nuclear missiles. Vraxathul slammed his fist on a nearby console. Impossible. Their weapons should be useless against our shields. They fired 37 missiles at once at the same spot, Krell explained. It seems they found a weakness in our shield pattern. They are smarter than we thought. The commander looked out at Earth through the large viewing window. They cannot keep this up. Their resources are limited. But I do not wish to wait any longer. He turned to his security chief. Bring me the human captives. It's time they saw what real power looks like. In their cell, Paul and Olivia had been trying to stay positive. They had been given water and some kind of food paste that tasted like bland oatmeal. It wasn't good, but it kept them going. Any word from Earth? Olivia asked quietly. Paul shook his head. The small communication device hidden in his watch hadn't received any signals. Either the ship was blocking transmissions, or Earth wasn't able to reach them. He checked his diplomatic bag again. Buddy was still doing well, though the dog was clearly eager to get out. Just a little longer, boy, Paul whispered when the guards weren't looking. The cell door slid open with a hiss. 4 guards entered, their weapons ready. Come, one ordered. Commander wants you. Paul picked up his diplomatic bag. One guard reached for it, but Paul pulled back. This contains vital diplomatic materials, he said firmly. By galactic law, you cannot separate a diplomat from official documents. Paul had no idea if galactic law even existed, but he spoke with such authority that the guard hesitated, then backed off. Bring it. Follow. As they walked through the ship, Paul and Olivia could see signs of battle readiness. Alien crew members rushed through halls carrying equipment. Screens on walls showed images of Earth and what looked like targeting systems. They're getting ready for something big, Olivia whispered. Paul nodded grimly. Stay ready. We might need Buddy sooner than we thought. On Earth, Admiral Kate Morgan hadn't slept in days. Their victory in shooting down an alien scout ship had given everyone a small boost of hope. But the cost had been high. They had lost 3 defense bases and hundreds of soldiers. Admiral, General Reeves said, the President is asking for an update. Kate looked at the latest satellite images. The alien fleet was shifting position. Tell him we're holding on, but just barely. Our Pacific defenses are at 40% capacity. European bases report ammunition supplies running low. Young Lieutenant Alan Miller approached with fresh reports. Ma'am, our scientists have been studying the alien ship we shot down. They've found something interesting about their biology. Kate looked up. What is it? The aliens have a nervous system that's very different from ours. They seem to have an extreme reaction to certain frequencies of sound, like how some dogs react to high-pitched whistles. Kate sat up straighter. Are you saying we might have a non-lethal way to fight them? Possibly, ma'am, but we'd need more data to be sure. Kate allowed herself the first smile in days. Keep working on it. Any advantage helps. A warning alarm blared through the command center. All eyes turned to the main screen. The mothership is moving, someone shouted. They're taking up position directly over us. On the bridge of the Zalorian ship, Paul and Olivia were brought before Commander Vraxthul. This time, at least 20 alien crew members were present, all watching the humans with their yellow eyes. 3 days, Vraxthul said loudly. 3 days we have given your planet to surrender. Instead, you fight back and even damage our ships. He walked closer to them. Your resistance is surprising, but still pointless. Paul kept his voice steady. Commander, war benefits neither of us. We can find a peaceful solution. The alien crew made that strange hissing clicking sound again, their version of laughter. Peace, Vraxthul said. We did not travel across 17 star systems for peace. We came for your world. Paul noticed the ship's position on a large display screen. You've moved your ship over our North American continent. Yes, Vraxthul said. Directly above your largest military command center, the one protecting your leaders. Paul felt cold. They were right above the Colorado base where Admiral Morgan would be. Before I destroy it, Vraxthul continued, I wanted you to understand why resistance is foolish. You humans are weak. Your bodies are soft. Your teeth are dull. You have no claws, no armor. Vraxthul pressed a button on his wrist. A large door at the side of the bridge slid open. Now let me show you what real biological power looks like. 2 alien guards entered, struggling to control something much larger than themselves. They were pulling thick chains attached to a massive creature. It looked like a nightmare mix of bear, scorpion, and crocodile all in one. The beast stood taller than a human with 6 muscular legs ending in claws like kitchen knives. Its mouth was full of teeth as long as fingers, and a tail with a spiked end whipped back and forth behind it. The creature roared, making Paul and Olivia step back. Even the alien guards seemed nervous around it. This, Vraxthul said proudly, is a war beast from our home planet. We breed them for battle. This one is just a baby, not even fully grown. The war beast pulled at its chains, clearly wanting to attack. A metal device attached to its head seemed to be controlling it, sending occasional sparks across its scaly skin. One war beast can kill 20 armed soldiers, Vraxthul boasted. We have hundreds of them. When we launch our ground invasion, they will lead the way. Paul felt the diplomatic bag move slightly, but he could sense the tension and was getting restless. It was almost time. Commander, Paul said, humans may not have claws or armor, but we have something else. We have formed relationships with other species on our planet. We work together. Vraxthul's head tilted. What do you mean? On Earth, we have partnered with many animals. Some work with us, protect us, and help us. The commander's expression was hard to read, but Paul thought he saw curiosity there. You claim to have creatures that serve you willingly, without control devices? Vraxthul asked. Not serve, Paul corrected. Partner with us. There's a difference. The alien commander's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. Show me one of these partners. Then, Paul looked at Olivia, who gave a small nod. This was their chance. I happen to have one with me, Paul said, placing his hand on the diplomatic bag. The bridge of the Zalorian ship went completely quiet as Paul reached for his diplomatic bag. The alien guards raised their weapons, pointing them at Paul, but Commander Vraxthul held up one hand to stop them. If this is a trick, Vraxthul warned, you will die instantly. No trick, Paul said calmly. He slowly unzipped the special bag. This is one of Earth's companion species. We've lived and worked together for thousands of years. All the aliens watched closely as Paul opened the bag wider. Inside, Buddy the golden retriever had been waiting patiently. The dog blinked at the sudden light, then climbed out of the bag with a small stretch. His golden fur shined under the bright lights of the alien bridge. Buddy yawned, showing his teeth, then sat down next to Paul, his tail wagging gently back and forth. The reaction from the aliens was immediate and shocking. Several of the bridge crew jumped back from their control stations. 2 of them made high-pitched alarm calls. The guards tightened their grip on their weapons but seemed too surprised to actually fire them. Most surprising of all was Commander Vraxthul's reaction. The huge alien leader took 3 quick steps backward, his 6 eyes wide open, his body suddenly stiff. You brought an uncaged predator onto my ship? He hissed, his translator struggling to keep up with his agitated speech. Paul looked down at Buddy, then back at the aliens, confused by their extreme reaction. This is just Buddy. He's a dog, what we call a canine. He's completely friendly and well-trained. The war beast in the corner began pulling harder at its chains, making angry growling sounds. The guards controlling it struggled to hold it back. Olivia was watching the aliens carefully. She leaned close to Paul and whispered, "Look at them. They're terrified. I don't think it's an act." Paul looked around and saw she was right. The aliens' body language showed clear signs of fear. Some were even trembling slightly. Buddy, meanwhile, sat calmly beside Paul, his tongue hanging out, looking perfectly relaxed. Commander Vraxthul seemed to be fighting to control his fear. Why does it show its teeth like that? Is it preparing to attack? No, Paul explained, quickly. That's just how dogs look when they're happy. It's called panting. He's completely calm and friendly. The commander pressed a button on his wrist device and a transparent shield appeared between the humans and the aliens. Explain this creature. Why does it not try to escape? How are you controlling it without a neural device? Paul understood, now. These aliens had no concept of domesticated animals or pets. This was his chance. Buddy isn't controlled by any device, Paul explained. Dogs have lived alongside humans for at least 15,000 years. They were once wild wolves, but over thousands of generations we formed a partnership. They help us hunt, protect our homes, find lost people, and provide companionship. The alien bridge crew whispered among themselves. One officer approached Vraxthul and said something the translator didn't catch. You're saying, Vraxthul said slowly, you took a predator species and befriended it without force? Exactly. Paul nodded. It was a mutual benefit. We provided food and shelter. They provided protection and companionship. Over time, both species changed. We developed a deep bond. To demonstrate, Paul knelt beside Buddy and petted his head. The dog looked up at him with obvious affection. Good boy, Buddy, Paul said softly. The aliens watched this interaction with what seemed like a mix of fear, confusion, and growing curiosity. Impossible, one of the officers said. Predators cannot be trusted. They will always revert to their instincts, Paul smiled. May I show you something else? After a moment, Vraxthul nodded. Paul looked at Buddy and gave a simple hand signal. Buddy, down. Immediately, the dog laid down on the floor. Roll over. Buddy rolled onto his back, paws in the air. Sit up. The dog rolled back and sat up straight, again. With each command, the alien's reactions shifted more toward amazement than fear. The war beast handlers were watching especially closely. How many commands does it know? One of them asked. Buddy knows about 50 verbal commands and another 20 hand signals, Paul explained. Some working dogs can learn over 100 commands. They're highly intelligent. Commander Vraxthul's posture had relaxed slightly, though he kept the shield up. On our world, predators are always dangerous. We capture them when they're babies and use neural implants to control them. Even then, they often break free and attack. That's because you're trying to control them through fear, Olivia said, speaking up for the first time since Buddy appeared. Our approach is based on mutual respect and positive rewards. Rewards? Asked one of the war beast handlers. Paul reached into a small pocket on the diplomatic bag and pulled out a dog treat. Buddy, catch. He tossed the treat gently, and Buddy caught it in midair, then happily ate it. We reward good behavior, not punish bad behavior, Paul explained. Over time, the animal learns to want to please you. The war beast had grown quieter, watching Buddy with what almost looked like curiosity. Its handlers exchanged glances. Commander, one of them said hesitantly, this approach might explain our difficulties with the war beast program. We have a 40% handler casualty rate during training. Vraxthul was silent for a long moment, his alien features hard to read. Finally, he pressed his wrist device again, and the shield vanished. This creature, this dog, does not appear threatening, yet you say it comes from predator stock. From wolves? Yes, Paul confirmed. Wolves are pack hunters, highly social, like your own species seems to be. In a way, humans became part of their pack, and they became part of our family. Family, Vraxthul repeated, as if the word was new to him. You consider these animals family? Many of us do, Paul said. Would you like to meet him properly? The bridge grew tense again. None of the aliens moved. It is safe? Vraxthul asked. Completely, Paul assured him. Buddy is specially trained to be gentle with everyone. In fact, on Earth he works as a therapy dog, helping sick people feel better. After another moment of hesitation, Vraxthul took a cautious step forward. What do I do? Just hold out your hand, palm down, and let him sniff it, Paul instructed. That's how dogs greet new friends. Moving very slowly, the alien commander extended one four-fingered hand. Buddy looked up at Paul, who nodded encouragement. The golden retriever stood up and walked calmly toward the alien. The guards raised their weapons again, but Vraxthul signaled them to wait. Buddy sniffed the alien's hand, then sat down and looked up at Vraxthul, tail wagging gently. Now you can pet him, Paul suggested, gently on the head. With visible nervousness, Vraxthul reached out and lightly touched Buddy's head. The dog leaned into the touch, clearly enjoying it. A sound almost like a purr came from the commander's throat, the first non-threatening sound Paul had heard from any of the aliens. Soft, Vraxthul said quietly. Not what I expected. One by one, other crew members began to approach, curious but still cautious. Buddy remained calm, letting each alien greet him in turn. The war beast handler stepped forward. Commander, I believe there is much we could learn from these humans about animal handling. Our current methods clearly do not work well. Vraxthul was still petting Buddy, seeming almost mesmerized by the experience. Perhaps, he admitted. Perhaps there are things we do not understand about other species. Paul and Olivia exchanged hopeful glances. This small moment of connection might just be enough to stop a war. While things were starting to change on the alien ship, back on Earth, Admiral Kate Morgan and her team were working non-stop. They had been trying to find a way to contact Paul and Olivia, or to learn more about the aliens. In a small, crowded room filled with computers and equipment, Kate stood behind a team of scientists and computer experts. Their faces looked tired but determined in the blue light of the screens. We've been trying to break into their communication system for days, said Dr. Rick Foster, the lead scientist. He was a thin man with messy gray hair and thick glasses. We finally got through about an hour ago. Kate leaned closer. What did you find? A lot of data is still encrypted, but we've managed to access some of their historical records and biological information. Dr. Foster pointed to strange alien text on his screen that was slowly being translated into English. And, Admiral, what we found changes everything. Rick pressed a few buttons and images appeared on the main screen. They showed what looked like the aliens' home planet, a dry, rocky world with thin plant life and wide deserts. The Zilorians evolved on a planet with very different conditions than Earth, Rick explained. Their world had few large predators. The Zilorians themselves evolved from prey animals, species that were hunted by the few predators that did exist. Another scientist, Dr. Lisa Chen, joined in. Their ancestors were similar to what we might call rabbit-like creatures. They developed intelligence as a survival strategy. They learned to make tools and build shelters to protect themselves from predators. Kate began to understand. So, they have a natural fear of predator species. Exactly, Rick nodded. Their entire psychology is built around avoiding and eliminating threats. They've conquered many worlds because they see any potential threat as something that must be controlled or destroyed before it can harm them. And Earth, Kate said slowly, is full of predator species. Not just that, Lisa added. Humans evolved alongside predators. We have predator features ourselves, forward-facing eyes, canine teeth. To the Zilorians, we look like natural hunters. Which we are. Kate turned to her communication officer. We need to get this information to Paul immediately. The young officer adjusted his headset. I've been working on a secure channel. I think I can get a message through, but it will have to be short. Tell him about the Zilorians' prey psychology, Kate instructed. Tell him they fear predators at a deep instinctual level. If he's found a way to communicate with them, this could be crucial information. As the officer began typing the message, Kate looked at the large screen showing the alien mothership still hovering over Earth. Let's hope it's not too late. On the Zilorian ship, things had changed dramatically in the hours since Buddy's appearance. The bridge had become an impromptu meeting area. Paul and Olivia sat on the floor with Buddy, surrounded by curious aliens. Several of the war beast handlers had joined them, asking countless questions about Earth's animals and how humans worked with them. Commander Vraxthul watched from a slight distance, still cautious but clearly interested. He had even allowed one of the junior officers to bring out food and water for the humans and Buddy. So you have many different types of these dogs? Asked a young Zilorian officer. Hundreds of breeds, Paul explained. Some are big and strong for protection or rescue work. Some are small and good at catching small pests. Others are just companions. And they all came from wolves? Another alien asked. Yes, through selective breeding over thousands of years, Olivia said. But we work with many species. Horses for transportation, cats for pest control, birds for messages in the old days, and many more. A subtle vibration against Paul's wrist made him pause. His hidden communication device was receiving a message. He casually adjusted his sleeve to read the small screen inside his cuff. The message from Earth was brief. Zilorians evolved from prey species, deep instinctual fear of predators. Use this. Paul looked up at the aliens with new understanding. Their extreme reaction to Buddy suddenly made perfect sense. Their entire species evolved with the instinct to fear and avoid predators. Commander, Paul said, deciding to take a risk with this new information. May I speak with you privately? Vraxthul hesitated, then nodded. They moved to a quieter corner of the bridge, though two guards followed them. I believe I understand something important about our two species, Paul began. Your ancestors were prey animals, weren't they? Species that had to hide and run from predators. The commander's 6 eyes widened in surprise. How did you know this? It explains your reaction to Buddy and your approach to potential threats, Paul said. Humans evolved differently. Our ancestors were sometimes prey, but we also became hunters. We learned to work with other predator species rather than fear them. Vraxthul was quiet for a moment. Yes. My people evolved from herd grazers. Our earliest memories as a species are of running and hiding from hunters with sharp teeth and claws. He glanced at Buddy. Like those. That's why you conquer other worlds, Paul said. It wasn't a question. You eliminate potential threats before they can threaten you. It is survival, Vraxthul said simply. The galaxy is full of dangers. Paul nodded. On Earth we have a saying. The best defense is a good offense. But we've also learned another approach: alliance and cooperation. At that moment, one of the war beast handlers approached with the large creature from earlier. The beast seemed calmer now, watching Buddy with curiosity instead of aggression. "Commander," the handler said, "I've been trying some of the human methods. Simple rewards for calm behavior. It's working better than the neural controls." Vraxthul looked shocked. "Already?" "These creatures are intelligent," the handler explained. "They respond better to positive treatment than to pain and fear, just as the human said." Paul saw his opportunity. "Commander, I believe our species could learn a lot from each other. Humans understand how to work with other species in partnership. Your people have advanced technology and a vast knowledge of the galaxy." The alien leader seemed to be considering this idea when suddenly alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed on all the screens. "Report!" Vraxthul demanded. A Silurian officer rushed to a control panel. "Commander, long-range scanners have detected a fleet entering the system. It's the Draxis." The atmosphere on the bridge instantly changed. The aliens moved quickly to battle stations, all curiosity about Buddy forgotten. "How many ships?" Vraxthul asked, his voice tight. 23 vessels, Commander, all warships." Olivia looked at Paul. "Who are the Draxis?" One of the junior officers answered her. "Our enemies. They follow our exploration fleets and attack when they think we're vulnerable. They're scavengers and pirates." Paul watched Vraxthul giving orders, seeing the tension in the commander's body. Even with the large Zalorian fleet, 23 enemy warships was clearly a serious threat. "Your ship is powerful," Paul observed, "but those odds don't look good." Vraxthul's facial tendrils twitched in what Paul had learned was a sign of agreement. "The Draxis have been hunting us for generations. They see us as easy targets because we avoid direct conflict when possible." Understanding dawned on Paul. The Zalorians' prey psychology made them reluctant fighters. They preferred to intimidate or avoid rather than engage in battle. The Draxis must have learned to exploit this. Paul touched his communication device, sending a quick message to Earth. Moments later, he had his answer. He approached Vraxthul, who was studying a tactical display showing the approaching enemy fleet. "Commander," Paul said, "Earth's defense forces offer their assistance." Vraxthul turned all 6 eyes to Paul, clearly surprised. "You would help us? After we threatened your world?" "We have a common enemy now," Paul replied. "And as I said, humans believe in alliances." He smiled slightly. "Also, we have some experience with predator tactics that might be useful against these Draxis." The commander looked at the tactical display, then back at Paul. "Against all protocol and tradition," he nodded. "Very well, human, let's see what your predator thinking can do against real hunters." The space around Earth became a battlefield. The Draxis fleet had arrived with 23 warships all ready for battle. Their ships were smaller than the Zalorian vessels, but faster and more aggressive in their movements. On the Zalorian command ship, Paul worked closely with Commander Vraxthul. They had set up a direct communication link with Admiral Kate Morgan on Earth. "The Draxis attack in straight lines," Vraxthul explained, showing the battle map. "They rely on superior weapons and speed." Kate's voice came through the speakers. "Then we need to be unpredictable. Humans learned hunting techniques from watching wolves and other pack animals." Paul nodded. "Wolf packs circle their prey, attack from multiple angles, and use teamwork." This was new thinking for the Zalorians. Their battle plans were always defensive, creating strong shields and walls of fire to keep enemies away. "Earth vessels can move in quickly from different directions," Kate suggested. "We're smaller and less powerful, but the Draxis won't expect us to work with the Zalorians." Vraxthul looked uncertain but agreed to try the human strategy. The battle began with the Draxis' ships approaching in formation. They clearly expected the Zalorians to form their usual defensive circle. Instead, following the new plan, the Zalorian ships spread out. Earth's 15 space vessels moved between them, creating an unpredictable pattern. When the Draxis' fleet came within range, the Earth ships darted forward in pairs, moving fast, hitting quickly, then pulling back. They targeted the same spots on the enemy shields, just as wolves might focus on one weak spot of a larger animal. It's working, Paul said, watching the battle map. 2 Draxis ships were already showing damage. Meanwhile, Olivia had been working with the war beast handlers. Using what they had learned about Buddy's training, they had made a breakthrough with the war beasts. "Commander," said the head handler, rushing onto the bridge, "we've managed to calm the war beasts and give them simple commands without the neural devices. They're ready to help if any Draxis board our ships." Vraxthul looked amazed. "In just hours, you've accomplished what we've tried to do for generations." The battle continued. 3 Draxis ships had been destroyed, but they had also damaged 2 Zalorian vessels. Then the largest Draxis ship moved directly toward the command ship. "They're targeting us specifically," Vraxthul said. "They must know this is our command center." The enemy ship fired and the whole bridge shook. Warning lights flashed. "Shield strength down to 40%, reported an officer. "They're preparing to board us," said another. Paul looked at Buddy, who sat calmly despite the chaos. An idea formed in his mind. "Commander, let me take Buddy with your boarding defense team." "A therapy dog against armed invaders?" Vraxthul asked in disbelief. "Trust me," Paul said. "Buddy has other skills too." Minutes later, the Draxis ship attached itself to the Zalorian vessel. The sound of cutting tools echoed through the halls as the invaders tried to force their way in. Paul stood with a team of Zalorian defenders and 3 war beasts that were now following commands without neural devices. Buddy sat at Paul's side, alert and ready. When the Draxis broke through, they were met with an unexpected sight. Instead of just Zalorian defenders, they faced war beasts working alongside their handlers, moving in coordinated patterns. And, leading one group was Paul with Buddy. The golden retriever, trained in police work before becoming a therapy dog, followed Paul's hand signals perfectly. He ran forward, surprising the Draxis soldiers who had never seen an Earth dog before. Buddy didn't attack but created confusion and distraction, allowing the Zalorians to move in. The battle was short. The surprised Draxis were quickly pushed back to their ship. "Retreat," the Draxis commander ordered. Their remaining ships began to pull away from Earth. On the bridge, Vraxthul watched them go with wonder. "I've never seen the Draxis retreat so quickly." Paul smiled. "Sometimes, the unexpected is your best weapon." 2 weeks later, things had changed completely. The Zalorian fleet remained near Earth, but as allies, not invaders. Commander Vraxthul had sent a message to his homeworld, recommending a formal alliance with humans. "Your species has much to teach us," Vraxthul told Paul during a ceremony on the bridge. "For millennia, we have tried to ensure our safety by controlling or eliminating potential threats. You have shown us another way." Admiral Kate Morgan, now aboard the alien ship, nodded. "And your technology will help humanity reach further into space than ever before." The final agreement included a special program. Human-animal trainers would help the Zalorians develop better relationships with their war beasts and other creatures. In return, the Zalorians would share their advanced space travel technology. As the leaders signed the treaty, Buddy sat between Paul and Vraxthul, his tail wagging gently. The dog who had changed the course of interstellar relations looked perfectly content, as if he had known all along that things would work out. "Small actions can have great consequences," Vraxthul observed, reaching down to pet Buddy's head. "Who would have thought that peace between our worlds would begin with a friendly golden retriever?"